If your cat looks right at you and then does exactly what you just told them not to do, there's something you need to understand. Because what's happening in that moment isn't disrespect or spite. It's communication you're not equipped to hear. And once you understand what your cat is actually saying, everything about your relationship changes. 1. Your cat isn't ignoring you. They're answering a different question. You call your cat's name from across the room. They turn their head, make direct eye contact, and then nothing. They go back to staring at the wall. It feels like rejection, like they heard you perfectly and chose to dismiss you. Here's what actually happened. Your cat did hear you. They processed your voice, identified you as non-threatening, and decided no response was necessary. Not because they don't care, but because in feline communication, acknowledgement doesn't require action. When one cat looks at another, that glance is the entire conversation. It says, "I see you. You're noted. We're fine." That's it. There's no expectation of approaching, no social obligation to engage further. Eye contact is the response. You're asking for a dog's reaction from a cat's brain. Dogs were domesticated to cooperate with humans, to read our cues and respond to our needs. Cats domesticated themselves by tolerating proximity to our food sources. They never evolved to take orders. Every time your cat glances at you and stays put, they're not being stubborn. They're being exactly what 10,000 years of evolution designed them to be. Independent hunters who only move when they have a reason to. You can't train evolution out of an animal. You can only learn to speak their language instead of demanding they speak yours. Drop a 1 in the comments if your cat has ever looked directly at you while doing the thing you just said no to. 2. What your cat actually hears when you talk. Here's something most cat owners get wrong. You talk to your cat in full sentences, explaining why they shouldn't be on the table, why the plant is off limits, why 4 a.m. is not breakfast time, and you genuinely believe some of it is getting through. But a 2023 study on feline vocal recognition found something fascinating. Cats can distinguish their owner's voice from a stranger's. They recognize their name among other words. But they're not processing meaning the way you think they are. When you say, "Get down from there right now," your cat isn't hearing a command. They're hearing a sound pattern associated with a particular tone and energy level. What registers isn't the words. It's whether your voice sounds tense, calm, or excited. Your cat jumps on the table. You say, "No, bad cat, get down." You're frustrated, so your voice is sharp. Your cat doesn't think, "I shouldn't be here." They think, "That sound means my person is in a weird mood." They might jump down, not because they understood the instruction, but because sudden loud noises trigger a predator avoidance response. You just became the thing that sounds like a threat. Or they stay put, because the table still feels safer than whatever energy you're putting out. Either way, the table isn't the lesson. You are. What actually works is consistency in association, not explanation. The same sound paired with the same outcome, repeated until the pattern becomes prediction. 3. Why your cat's bad behavior happens exactly when you're watching. Let's talk about something that drives owners crazy. Your cat is perfectly behaved when you're gone. The moment you sit down to work, to eat, to watch something, chaos. The plant gets attacked. The curtains become a climbing wall. The keyboard becomes a bed. You think they're doing it for attention, and you're half right. But it's not manipulation. It's activation. Cats are ambush predators. In the wild, activity happens in bursts when prey appears, not on a schedule. Your cat can sleep 16 hours a day, but the moment something interesting moves, their entire system comes online. You are that movement. You sitting down doesn't signal rest time to a cat. It signals event time. Something is happening in their environment. A person is being active, which means opportunities might exist. That's why your cat brings you toys when you're on a call. Why they zoom across the room the second you settle in. Why they knock your water glass over while maintaining eye contact. They're not interrupting your activity. You became their activity. Punishing this doesn't work because you're punishing a hunting response. Your cat's brain isn't categorizing this as misbehavior. It's categorizing it as engagement. The cats who seem well-behaved when alone aren't more obedient. They're just not activated. There's nothing interesting happening, so they sleep. The second you return, the environment becomes interesting again. 4. The look your cat gives you isn't guilt. It's assessment. You come home. The trash is everywhere. Your cat is sitting 3 feet away, staring at you with that face. You know the one. Ears slightly back, eyes wide, body low. You say, "What did you do?" And that look intensifies. Proof, you think. They know they messed up. Except animal behaviorists have tested this extensively. Cats don't experience guilt. Not because they lack empathy, but because guilt requires understanding that a past action was wrong according to someone else's rules. That's abstract reasoning cats don't possess. What you're seeing is a real-time threat assessment. Your cat walked in, saw your body language change, heard your tone shift, and is now calculating risk. Should I run? Should I stay? How unpredictable is this person right now? That guilty face is a stress response. Your cat reading your mood and reacting to it in the present moment, completely disconnected from the trash they got into 4 hours ago. Even if you walked in right as they knocked over the trash, their brain isn't filing that action under wrong. It's filing it under this causes a loud reaction from my person, which might mean danger. The difference matters. Because if you think your cat feels guilty, you'll treat the situation like a moral lesson. But your cat isn't learning right from wrong. They're learning you're unpredictable and sometimes unsafe. 5. The one thing your cat actually wants from you. Most owners think their cat wants affection on human terms. Petting, holding, talking. And some cats tolerate that, even enjoy it. But what your cat actually craves is something most people never think to offer. Predictability. In every study on feline stress markers, cortisol levels, behavioral indicators, health outcomes, the single biggest factor wasn't affection. It was consistency. Cats who knew when food was coming, where their resources were, and what to expect from their environment showed dramatically lower stress than cats in chaotic or frequently changing households. Your cat doesn't want you to be more loving. They want you to be more boring. Same feeding times, same play routine, same response to the same behaviors. Not because they're rigid, but because predictability equals safety for an animal whose survival depended on controlling variables. When you're inconsistent feeding at random times, sometimes playing when they bring a toy, and sometimes ignoring it, laughing at a behavior one day and yelling about it the next, your cat can't build a reliable map of their world. And an unreliable world is a dangerous world, so they stay in low-level alert mode, which looks like anxiety, aggression, or destructive behavior. Not because they're bad, because they're stressed. The cats who seem calmest aren't the ones getting the most attention. They're the ones who know exactly what to expect. 6. What the litter box is actually telling you. Before we talk about behavior modification, let's talk about the thing most owners miss until it becomes a crisis. Your cat's litter box habits aren't just about cleanliness. They're a diagnostic tool for almost everything going wrong. Your cat suddenly starts going outside the box. Most owners assume it's behavioral. Spite, protest, bad habits. But in feline medicine, inappropriate elimination is the #1 early warning sign for urinary tract infections, kidney disease, diabetes, and arthritis. A cat in pain doesn't meow and point to where it hurts. They change one behavior, where they eliminate. Because if the litter box has become associated with pain straining to urinate, joint pain from climbing in, they'll avoid it. Not to punish you, to protect themselves. A cat who suddenly becomes aggressive near the box or starts going right next to it instead of in it isn't being difficult. They're telling you something is wrong with their body. Stress works the same way. A new pet, a move, construction noise, a change in your schedule. Cats process stress through their bladder. It's not revenge. It's a physiological response they can't control. Understand this. If your cat's litter box behavior changes, the first stop is always a vet. Not more litter boxes, not different litter, not punishment. A vet. Because behavior is language, and this particular behavior is almost always spelling out a problem you can't see yet. 7. The only training method that actually builds trust. Here's what finally works, and why everything else fails. You can't force a cat to cooperate. You can only make cooperation the most appealing option available. When your cat uses the scratching post and you immediately toss them a treat, their brain releases dopamine. That's the same neurochemical that fires during hunting, during successful play, during anything their biology rewards. The post gets filed under good things happen here. When your cat approaches the counter and you redirect them to their cat tree and reward them there, you're not punishing the counter. You're making the tree more interesting. The behavior shifts because the motivation shifted. This is why positive reinforcement works with cats when dominance-based methods fail. Cats don't have a hierarchical pack structure to exploit. They don't care about being the alpha, but they absolutely care about what feels good, what gets them food, and what makes their environment predictable. Studies on feline learning show that cats trained with rewards learn faster, retain behaviors longer, and show less stress than cats trained with corrections. Not because they're being spoiled, because their brain is designed to hunt rewards, not avoid punishment. You weren't wrong for getting frustrated, for raising your voice, for thinking your cat should just listen. You were working with information that made sense for dogs, or kids, or any animal that evolved to respect authority. But your cat didn't, and now you know what actually works.